Solutions for quiz 6 for Math 95. In problem 1, we're given some radicals and asked to either multiply or divide them, and to express your answer in radical forms. That's key. And why that's key is because really this problem is hard to do if you leave it in radical form. It's a lot easier if you change it into exponent notation. And to do that, you have to know that the square root of x is the same as x to the 1/2 power, and the cubed root of x squared is the same as x to the 2/3 power. And then one more thing, you need to know that there's a rule when you're multiplying together two exponents like this, or two things with the same base raised up to a power, that what you do is you add up the exponents. So what I got to do is I got to figure out what is 1/2 plus 2/3, and that will be my new exponent. 1/2 plus 2/3, maybe I'll do that off to the side somewhere. This seems like as good as any. 1/2 plus 2/3. To add fractions, you need a common denominator. So in this case, the least common denominator would be 6. So we'd make this 3/6 plus 4/6. Multiply this side by 3 over 3, this side by 2 over 2. If you add those up, you get 7/6. So what that tells us is that my answer is x to the 7/6 power, which would be a perfectly acceptable answer except for the fact that it says write your answer in radical form. So in radical form, the way to write this is the 6th root of, because I have a 6 in the denominator, x to the 7th power. So that's the answer. Down here, kind of the same idea. Again, it'll help to express things in exponent notation. So here I got x to the same as up here. Guess I did that on purpose. X to the 2/3 power divided by x to the 1/2 power. And so what this one ends up being is x to the 2/3 minus 1/2. So same basic idea, except now instead of 1/2 plus 2/3, I got to do 2/3 minus 1/2. Probably an easy way to think about it is I got to do 4/6 minus 3/6. And since that's just equal to 1/6, what I get is my answer is x to the 1/6 power, which is almost the final answer. It's just not written in radical form. In radical form, that's the 6th root of x. Those are my answers. All right, moving on. Simplify the following. So they're giving me something, in this case 24x to the 5th y to the 6th, and asking me to find the square root and then the cubed root of that thing. Should look like this week's perfect problem. Probably what you want to do is figure out what 24 is. So if you find its prime factorization, 24 is 8 times 3, and 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So what I get is 24 is 2 cubed times 3 to the 1 power. So when they ask me to simplify the square root of 24x to the 5th y to the 6th, I'm going to think about it as the square root of 2 cubed times 3 to the 1 power, if you want, times x to the 5th times y to the 6th. And so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to split this up in what we called in class a good radical and a bad radical. On the good side, I'm looking for pairs. So I got 3 of these 2's, stick 2 of them over here, and the remaining 1 goes over here. I only have 1 of these 3's, so I got to put it over here on the bad side. X's, I got 5 of them, so I could make 2 pairs. In other words, I could put 4 of them over here, and there's 1 left over here. Y's, I got 6 of them, so I could make 3 pairs. In other words, I could put all 6 over here. I don't have any left over here. And so the way this simplifies is the square root of 2 squared is just 2. The square root of x to the 4th is x squared. And the square root of y to the 6th is y cubed. And so what I get from my final answer is 2x squared y cubed times the square root of 6x. Nothing I can do with the bad radical side. That's why it's called the bad radical. And then you kind of repeat that same process, except now instead of it being a square root, it's a cubed root. So what that changes is to put something under the good side, you need 3 of them. You need a trio. So I got 2 cubed times 3 to the 1st times x to the 5th times y to the 6th is my original problem. And what I want to do is I want to split that up into a good radical and a bad radical. So on the good side, I need 3 of a kind to put them over here. I got exactly 3 of these 2's. That works out well. I can put them all over here. Nothing left for over here. I only have 1 3. That's going to go on the bad side. X to the 5th. Well, I can put 3 of those 5 over here, which leaves me with 2 remaining over here. Y to the 6th, I can put all 6 over here because that's 2 groups of 3. And so what I end up with over here, the cube root of 2 cubed is just 2. The cubed root of x cubed is just x. The cubed root of y to the 6th is y squared. And then under the bad radical, I got the cubed root of 3x squared. So this ends up being my final answer. Guess I should indicate where my final answers are. Sure, I guess I should do it here too. This guy and this guy. And that's the end of this quiz.